Here I am again talking to you guys about another trade. You guys seem to really enjoy these trade reactions, so I'm going to continue to do them. I can't say that I'm going to have as strong as an opinion or as strong as a feeling on every single trade or signing that's going to happen in the offseason, but as long as you guys continue to watch these, I'm going to continue doing it. So hey, let's talk about Marcell Ozuna's trade. So as many of you know, Marcell Ozuna has been traded to the St. Louis Cardinals for some prospects. I think it's 3 prospects. The big name in the deal is Sandy Alcantara or Alcantara. I'm not sure how you necessarily pronounce his name. I don't know a lot about the guy. All I know is that he is a touted prospect, and that's the guy that the Marlins really wanted. In fact, that was the guy that they wanted when they were going to be trading Stanton to the Cardinals. But really, the thing I want to talk about besides the trade is just the Marlins in general. Now, the Marlins of the past were known for doing the stuff that's currently going on. They were known for getting players that were young, building up great players. You had guys like Don Trolos, Miguel Cabrera, Dan Uggla. These are just guys that I'm naming off the top of my head. Young players that they eventually move on because they just don't want to pay them. But now you have Jeter and company, the new ownership, and they put, what, $1 billion to purchase the Marlins, which I think is pretty crazy considering everybody knows that the Marlins are one of the weirdest franchises in baseball. Nobody goes to their games. They haven't been very good in a long time. They have won 2 World Series, just as many as the Mets in significantly less amount of years. But it was an interesting price tag, but to have $1 billion to buy a team makes you have the impression that they're going to be able to spend money and afford to continue to run the team how it currently was. Well, we know that's not the case. They traded Giancarlo Stanton, Ozuna, and D. Gordon away already this offseason. They just cut Edinson Volquez as well. To me, it seems just weird. I don't understand why they went that route, the Marlins. They're a new ownership. I understand maybe these aren't the guys that they want. I don't know why you wouldn't want Giancarlo Stanton, D. Gordon, Marcell Ozuna, Real Muto, Yelich. Those are 5 studs. I don't care what anybody says. Real Muto is a top 5 catcher in baseball. D. Gordon, top 5 second baseman in baseball. When he's healthy, he's ridiculous. Outfield-wise, Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton very well could be one of the best outfields in baseball, and they are young. I know Christian Yelich had a down year last year, and Ozuna had one of his best years, so let's just even them out. And at their average, they're still above average players, all-stars. So with Ozuna in left, Yelich in center, Giancarlo in right, you got D. Gordon at second base, Real Muto at catcher, and hey, Justin Moore's a damn good first baseman at first base. You have a very solid lineup. So what I don't understand is why the Marlins were just so quick to dump everybody. Giancarlo said he wanted to stay there. Ozuna says he wants to stay there. All the guys wanted to be there. It just seems like they were not wanted. Now listen, as a Met fan, I couldn't be happier. We are not going to have to worry about the Marlins for the foreseeable future. Next 2-3 years at least, they are not going to be a problem whatsoever. They are going to be the Phillies, if not worse. But from a baseball fan standpoint, it just doesn't make sense. Get rid of the financials. They just bought the team for $1 billion. They gotta have the money. They have to be able to play these players. They just paid $1 billion for the team. And I understand the Giancarlo contract was ridiculous. It's an insane contract that they inherited with the organization. But at the same time, they had such a good offense. They just need some pitching. Because if you look at the Marlins' numbers from last year, pitching was clearly their problem. Offensively, beast. When you look at runs scored, the Marlins had the 5th highest, ahead of the Dodgers, who won 100+ games. When you look at their numbers for hits and average, they were 2nd in the National League, and when you look at RBIs, they were 5th. So their offense was not the problem. Their offense is very good. One of the best in baseball, honestly. But then you take a look at their pitching, and their pitching was abysmal. Horrible. Really bad. The Marlins were 13th in the National League in ERA with 4.82. 13th out of 15th. That's not good. When you talk about quality starts, which has to do with their starting pitchers and how good their starts were throughout the year, they had 54 quality starts through 162 games. That's tied for last in the National League with who? The Cincinnati Reds, who are really bad at pitching. The Marlins walked the 2nd most amount of batters in the National League, and they struck out the fewest. So their pitching it's really, I can't stretch it enough. It's really bad. You improve on the pitching, you could have a team that can make a playoff push very well. I can't stress enough how bad their pitching was. If they could improve their pitching, they had a very good chance of making the playoffs. Because the National League East, the Mets right now, they got to worry about injuries, they got to worry about health, they don't want to spend any money. Don't get me started on that. As we know, I could talk about the Mets and their problems for hours. But the National League East isn't that strong. You got to beat the Nationals right now. That's the team to beat. And the Marlins were just a few pitchers away from honestly competing with them. Not all things were bad for the Marlins last year in regards to pitching. Their pitching rotation, not the greatest. We'll go through it a little bit, but there are some bright spots. One bright spot is Jose Urena, the 26-year-old that they've kind of been waiting on to show his stuff, did a very good job in the second half of the year. 14-7 record, 28 game start, 3.82 ERA. Now, I understand that Urena is never going to be a number 1 or a 2, But if you get the guys around him, he's going to be a very good 3, 4, 5 starter. He doesn't strike out a ton, he walks a little bit more than you'd like, and he does give up a few hits, but at the end of the day, he does get the job done. He gets the outs needed. Just because you don't strike out and walk guys doesn't necessarily mean you're not the best pitcher, but you're not an ace. That's really what it comes down to. And the Marlins were just full of guys that are back-end starters at best. Arguably, their best pitcher the entire year was Dan Straley. He was very solid throughout the entire year. His numbers may not completely reflect it, but he did have career highs in most of his stats. Now, don't get me wrong, Dan Straley is not an ace. He is not an ace in any rotation, but that's what he was in the Marlins, so keep in mind, that's the quality of pitching that they gave their team throughout the entirety of last year. Ready to listen to some of the other guys that got some starts on this team? I understand not everybody's going to have good pitching, but this pitching was bad. They didn't give themselves a shot. You're going to see like a glare off my face because of the computer screen, but I'm just going to name off some of the guys that were on their pitching staff last year. Dan Straley, Jose Urena, Adam Conley, Edinson Volquez, way past his time. Tom Kohler, oh my god, he's horrible. Just a little thing about Tom Kohler. In 12 starts for the Marlins, he had a 7.92 ERA. Just keep that out there. He walked 4.7 per 9. Edinson Volquez walked 5.2. He only struck out 7, and he gave up almost 11 hits per 9 innings. I mean, the guy was really bad, and he was one of their starters. In the bullpen, you had AJ Ramos, who came over to the Mets. He did a very good job. Dustin McGowan was pretty decent. Kyle Barraclough is a very good reliever. But then Junichi Tozawa, not very good. Harleen Garcia, he's young, so I guess you cut him a break, but he's not like anybody you want to brag about. Vance Worley, Odresimir Desapanye, Justin Nicolino. David Phelps had a nice year, but he was traded. Brad Ziegler, Brian Ellington, Nick Whitgren, Drew Steckenrider, Wei-Yin Chen, Chris O'Grady, Jeff Locke. My god, Jeff Locke had a horrible year. Dylan Peters, Javi Guerra, and Hunter Cervenka. I mean, they did not have any pitchers that were really quality. Jose Urena and Dan Straley being the top. Everybody else was not very good. So this leads me to the point of like, I understand they don't want to pay a lot of people. But why? Why don't they? Because if they could get a few pitchers, they're a playoff team, and boom, your value on your investment that you made purchasing the team automatically goes up. You have a brand new stadium that's extremely nice. It's a really, really nice stadium from what I've heard. I've never been there, but everybody who tells me says it's really nice. The fan base, I understand, doesn't necessarily show up, but you want to know why? It's because you constantly get rid of all the star players that are there. You don't put out a good product, and it doesn't seem like you're there to win. And going back to the Ozuna trade, because that's technically what this video is about. It's weird because Ozuna is a ridiculously good outfielder. For those of you who've watched him, I see him in the National League East a ton because I'm a Met fan. He's really good. You've done a horrible job of maintaining your players because everybody knows that you're doing a fire sale. You're like, we're getting rid of everybody. And I mean everybody. And this guy has control. He can't be a free agent until 2020, so you have at least 3 more years of control with him for the St. Louis Cardinals. And they traded him away. They got Alcantara, who I understand is a highly touted prospect. He had a nice little season in AA. He's got some upside. But then the other 2 guys, they haven't even named yet at the time that I'm recording this video because it's just like, just give me 2 more guys. I mean, how is Alex Reyes not a name that's coming up? How is Alex Reyes not somebody that the Marlins are like, you know what? If you're going to take a superstar on our team, maybe Marcell Ozuna is not a superstar, but he is damn good. Look at his numbers. He is really good. But if you're going to get a guy like Marcell Ozuna, or if you're going to trade away a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, like, how is Alex Reyes not coming up in the conversation? For the St. Louis Cardinals, I think this is a fantastic trade. The Cardinals outfield now is very strong. Tommy Pham had a great season last year, came onto the scene very well. Dexter Fowler's a solid outfielder. I'm not going to say he's great. I'm not going to say he's bad, because he's a really good, solid outfielder to have. And now you add Marcell Ozuna's bat, you have Steven Piscotty and Grandal Grichuk that you can now trade. You can get rid of them, and you'll be able to get some pitching, or you'll be able to get some prospects for them, and keep replenishing that Cardinal system that always seems to do this. They are such a good organization, and it's because they make moves like this. They feed off of the idiots like the Marlins who are trading stars at such a low price, and then they'll trade their guys that they're no longer going to use and replenish. They're doing such a good job, the Cardinals. This is why they're always competitive. I mean, Randall Grichuk's 25, and Steven Piscotty's 26. Those guys are good baseball players, but it serves the Cardinals no purpose to keep them around because they need to play, and they have no value being a bench bat. So they're going to be able to trade them, and they're going to be able to get more to make their team better and their organization better. If you're an organization, you look at what the Cardinals do, take notes because they do a great job. And yes, I'm just going to ignore the hacking scandal because that's weird. So again, Cardinals, big time winners in this trade. I don't care. You always trade prospects for a bona fide star. Marcell Ozuna is going to be a star. He is going to be one of the best players in the league for the next few years. Don't worry about it, St. Louis Cardinal fans. You did the right decision. You always trade prospects for guys that are going to produce right now. Look at what the Astros did. I understand his pitching, it's a little different. But they traded prospects for Justin Verlander, you won the World Series. Look at what the Cubs did. You traded prospects for Aroldis Chapman, and you made some moves. Boom, won the World Series. I know that doesn't work out with every single team that makes moves at the deadline. You got the Indians who trade for Bruce. They didn't win it all, but they did pretty well. But at the end of the day, prospects are not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. But if you're going to go off of guys that have put up numbers for a couple of years, I'm going to take that over a guy that we're projecting to do L every single time. So I know that this video may have gone off on a tangent about why the Marlins are so dumb, and I don't necessarily agree with the way that their organization is going. But at the end of the day, you wanted a reaction out of me about this trade, and that's what you're going to get. Me, in my head, I jump around a bit, and at the time, all I could think about is, why are the Marlins doing this? So Cardinal fans, clapping it to you. Congratulations. You got a great player in Marcell Ozuna. You should be very excited of what's to come. And Marlins fans, if there are any Marlins fans, I'm sorry, guys. It's got to be rough. As someone who's a Met fan, a Knick fan, a Redskin fan, I'm a fan of all the losers. At least we don't just, dismantle a team that's very close to making to the playoffs, where we just don't make the playoffs. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content. I think I'm going to start to do this for all the big moves in the season. Like I said, maybe I won't be as passionate about the ones that involves the Mets or something where, me hating on the Yankees. But I think that you guys like these reactions. As long as you continue to support them and view them, I'm going to keep making them for you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.